everyone, my name is Vaishnavi. Welcome back to another V-Talks where we will be discussing the human vulva. So today is a really beautiful spring day in North Carolina, so we decided to go outside and really experience the beauty of nature. So Katie, why don't you pan around and show them what we're working with?
I'd love to.
Nice. Now come right back around because the true wonder of nature is right here on our board, the human vulva. So let's start right out with a few overview general things about the vulva. So this whole thing is referred to as the vulva. And so that's the external genitalia of the female reproductive system that you can see. So most people think that this thing that you can see is called the vagina. That's actually not true. The vagina is the muscular tube on the inside of the body. Now that we know what a vulva is, I'm going to give y'all a brief overview of the different aspects of the vulva. So first off, out here we have the Labia Majora. And so the Labia Majora are colloquially referred to as lips. I don't really like that phrase, but so they're the larger, fleshier outer folds surrounding the vulva. So inside the Labia Majora, typically we have the Labia Minora. So while the Labia Majora is often covered in hair and skin, the Labia Minora is covered usually in secretory fluids. It's a little more lubricated. Aside of the two labias, we have up here the clitoris, as well as a clitoral hood that we will get into more detail about in later videos. And then we have the urethral opening, otherwise known as the meatus. This is where urine exits the body. And then we have the vaginal opening, or otherwise known as the front hole, really the entrance to the vagina. A common misconception about the labias is that the labia minora should be smaller than the labia majora. This is actually not true. So some people's vulvas look like this, in which the labia minora is a lot bigger than the labia majora. This is completely fine. There shouldn't be a taboo against it. This is, in most cases, absolutely fine. And I just need to clear up that misconception. So another aspect that the labia majora and minora are subject to is hair removal. So hair removal can take place in different ways, right? So here's your dermis, your epidermis that carries your hair. And different people use different methods to remove hair, but these are the three most common, right? So shaving, waxing, and depilatory creams, so hair removers. So let's talk about the merits and disadvantages of each of these types of hair removal. So first off, for shaving, when you shave, you remove the upper part of your hair and leave behind the part that's still in your skin to grow back. In most cases this is fine, but sometimes it can cause what's known as ingrown hairs that rise up through your skin like bumps. And in most cases these are harmless, but when you're dealing with a very sensitive area like the vulva, ingrown hairs can cause a lot of unnecessary pain and discomfort. In addition to that, shaving can also cause some nicks and cuts in the vulva that can leave your skin and your vulva vulnerable to pathogens and bacteria. Waxing removes all of your hair by the root also, but it also removes the upper layer of your skin. This can also lead to a lot of small micro tears and micro perforations, as well as a loss of that barrier of skin that leave you more vulnerable to bacteria or pathogens. Depilatory creams also dissolve hair away, but they contain a variety of harmful chemicals that may upset some people with sensitive skin and can sometimes lead to chemical burns. All of these different forms of hair removal are completely your choice, but when it comes to the vulva, it's a pretty sensitive organ, and hair removal culturally is kind of a more recent phenomenon, and it's important to be comfortable with your own body. So however you choose to remove hair, or whether you choose not to remove hair, please be aware of the risks and benefits of your choices. Let's go inside the three components surrounded by the labia minora and the majora and talk about the first of them, the clitoris. The clitoris is a completely different organ. It's very beautiful and it's very complicated, so we'll save that for another video. But for a quick overview, if you were to look at the clitoris from the front, it looks kind of like this. It's like a little bump erupting through skin, and it also contains the clitoral hood, which covers it unless the person is aroused, in which case it peels back. So, the clitoris, while it looks like a little bump at first, it actually extends deep down into the body and it has kind of more of a wishbone shape. we'll get into this in a later video. Clitoris is often found at the very top of the vulva, and it can be very sensitive, so be careful around it. So after the clitoris, let's go into the urethral opening, otherwise known as the meatus. This is pretty simple. It's part of the excretory system, and so it's in between the clitoris and the vaginal opening. But a big misconception that I get a lot is, hey Vaishnavi, I have a tampon in, can I still pee? Like, does urine come through the vagina? And the answer to that is definitely no. So 100% no. So the urethra is, the urethral opening, the meatus, is connected to the urethra and to the excretory system, and that's where urine exits the body, not through the vagina. So that's why you can definitely urinate if you have something in your vagina. So after that is the vaginal opening, otherwise known as a front hole. The only things that will exit through the vaginal opening are blood, discharge, and babies. Really. Urine does not come through the vaginal opening, and it's important to kind of keep parts of the anatomy separate, right? So it's important to take good care of the vaginal opening, and that means, not putting foreign bodies inside the vagina. The vaginal opening is kind of in a gray zone between internal and external anatomy. So the vaginal opening does have some forms of protection to it. So if we were to zoom in on it, we would see that it actually contains the hymen. So there's a lot of misconceptions surrounding the hymen, and this is just a general drawing of the hymen. They come in all different shapes, sizes. So some are bifurcated, which means that there's only 2 little holes in the hymen. Some are absent, which means the person just doesn't have a hymen. Some of them are more fully covering. Some of them are covering less. So the hymen is a little membrane that kind of goes over the vaginal opening, and it doesn't usually cover it fully. A lot of questions I get are, when someone first has sex who has a vulva, can they pop the cherry? Like, can the hymen completely burst and go through? This is very wrong. So I try to tell people to think of it in 2 ways. So first, if you had a hymen that fully covered your vaginal opening, you wouldn't be able to menstruate, right? So like menstrual blood wouldn't be able to exit the body, and the discharge wouldn't either. Now some people do have hymens that are fully covering. If that's the case, usually a medical professional will address that issue. Secondly, this is a kind of a common misconception, but if there is blood during intercourse, we've normalized it so much in society, but if there is blood during intercourse, that's not good. That shouldn't be normal. It's not a good sign. You should stop, take things slowly, use lots of lubricant, go to a medical professional if you're in a lot of pain. So that's the hymen. It can tear a little bit during vigorous exercise, like if you're riding a bike or even sometimes during intercourse, but like any part of the body, it will heal again. So it will, revert to kind of its original shape. And so there's a lot of misconceptions surrounding the hymen, so I hope I've been able to clear some of those up for you. In total, this is the vulva, the external genitalia of the female reproductive system that we can see, not the vagina, which is an internal organ that you can't see. It contains the labia majora, the labia minora, the clitoris, the meatus, and the vaginal opening along with the hymen. It's very important to be aware of the normal state of your own vulva so that when something is not normal, you can address that immediately. And like I said, everybody's vulva looks a little different, acts a little different, and in most cases, it's completely normal. So I hope that you will go forth with this knowledge and understand your vulva or somebody else's a little better. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.